Welcome back to Small Caps. My name's Kerry Stevenson. Now, bringing you something pretty exciting today because it was only a month ago that we bought, Small Caps brought to you E2 Metals and Todd Williams, who's with me again today. Todd, it's great to see you. A month ago, we were talking about some of the results coming out of MIA, and here we are a month later. The results have been spectacular. First of all, I want to just briefly touch on those. Then I want you to explain to our investors what are the other areas of the district that you're looking at, and finally why you think that the company is still in the early stages of a really interesting area to explore. So let's start with those results from MIA, Todd.
Yes, well, thanks once again. Thanks for having me. And like you said, what a difference 1 month and one drill hole makes to an exploration company. It's a phenomenal industry to work in when things go right. And I guess, well, the headline figures for us is, we essentially went back to MIA. Last time we spoke, we were excited by a previous drill hit where we got 8 meters at just over 7 grams gold and 200 grams silver. And so we went back there with the drill rigs and we put 3 RC holes in and 3 diamond holes, and we come back with exceptional drill hit that I'm just going to read off the screen here of 18 meters at 47 grams per tonne gold and 208 grams per tonne silver. But importantly, that intercept was from 66 meters down hole, so about 50 vertical meters below the surface. So that's an incredible hit. On any metric in terms of grade and thickness. And, when you start looking back through history of other world-class gold and silver epithermal vein systems, because, the people need to look at this in the context of the deposit style, which is a narrow vein epithermal system. And when you start looking back at, recent world-class discoveries, you really start looking at the discovery holes from the Eureka West vein in Cerro Negro by Andean, 10, 12 years ago. And that's where you start seeing comparables to these grades and thicknesses. But, the important part is, once again, it's starting 50 vertical meters below the surface. So it's very shallow. And we managed to intercept it with our sort of shallow RC drilling, which is extremely encouraging, because it means that we can now follow up these regional prospects with shallow RC, knowing that that drill method is a very effective first pass scout technique. Now, if we just sort of circle back to the MIA results themselves and just kind of reflect on, I guess, what we were discussing a month ago, MIA was a discovery based on, 1 or 2 high-grade vein floats.
Yeah.
Those floats were typical of what we call the boiling zone, so there's these beautiful banded textures with visible gold within those floats. But they weren't so representative of the actual veins that surrounded those floats. The veins around those float samples were running sort of 0.5 gram gold or less. And what's interesting is when we actually trenched this prospect back in January this year, the trench results come back as 19 meters at 0.5 gram gold. And, there was a lot of retail investors that sort of got on the phone and said, Todd, are you really worried that, this is your, great prospect that you're touting as, a high quality, high grade prospect, and you've just cut a trench that returned 19 meters at 0.5 gram gold? And it's interesting to see that, you drill under that trench and you get almost 19 meters at almost 50 grams gold. Yeah. So it's amazing what 50 vertical meters can do in a epithermal vein system. And this is the nuance that I think many retail investors don't understand. And I think when you look at these results, it's not only exciting for MIA, but it's actually very exciting for what it means for the rest of the prospects within the Conserrat project. And if we move 1.2 kilometres to the northwest, we've got the Patricia prospect. There we've seen very similar high-grade vein float with visible gold banded textures. We've only put 4 scout holes into that prospect, which is nowhere near enough for these types of systems, and we have got really strong anomalies. But then further to the northwest again, we've got the Florencia prospect, and there we've got trenches that are running 70 metres at 0.5 gram gold. And the issue with Florencia is it's just so big, we just don't know where to start. So I guess what I would sort of, I guess the takeaway that I would like our investors to take from this is that, MIA, this is an exceptional outcome for MIA. It really highlights how you can have such exceptional high-grade shoots within these veins, but more importantly, sort of surrounded by lower-grade material. But then also highlights the potential for a lot more of these sorts of high-grade shoots within not only the structures along strike, but also the parallel structures that we have within our project. And that is the key distinction of these deposits. And it's why they have a great propensity to sort of grow organically and add ounces.
Well, I guess, Todd, the question that I'd like to ask you is, Argentina, there are plenty of places around the world. There are plenty of prospects. There's plenty of places to explore. Just explain how you came across, for those of you that out there that don't know E2 Metals, why this project and why were you so, not convinced, that's the wrong word, but why were you so focused on, this is the area that we need to drill in, because I can see that this could give great opportunities for shareholders.
Look, it comes down to scale, Kerry, because like, for example, sorry, I better put my phone on silent. No, so it comes down to scale because, we ran around Santa Cruz looking for vein systems and we found several vein systems within our portfolio. But the interesting thing about Conserrat is that, you could see that there was a sense of scale, from Mia to Veta Blanca, which are 2 known vein trends, that, that's 5 kilometres north-south. And then, from Mia then to the west, it's sort of 5 kilometres sort of east-west. And so we always knew from a very early stage that empirically the vein system had the scale to host, many million ounces of gold. And once you get to that position, you then hold yourself, you develop a posture, towards your exploration where you go, well, look, this is worth persisting. This is the system that we sort of want to just buckle into, put our flag on and give it a red hot crack. And, we've been working very systematically for 18 months. We've generated, trench results and drill hole results that I guess could have fallen below the expectations of many retail investors. But I think what we've finally done is just really highlighted, the potential of this project to host these high-grade shoots. And I guess, once again, you've got to give a shout out to the guys in the field. One of our geologists, Facundo Flores, he was right on to Mia. When one of the first trips he did to site, he went down to the Mia prospect and found those boulders, and he knew straight away that there was something special going on at Mia, and that's the sort of level of conviction that you need to make these systems work.
Yeah, and having the right people and the right team around you on the ground that can continue to grow this. What do you say to those people that are looking? I mean, you've had a spectacular share price run in a month. I think the last time we talked, the share price was 20 cents. You're now sitting around 75. For those people that are now looking at E2 Metals, sitting up and taking notice, for investors out there, do you think this is only the beginning?
Oh, look, as the managing director, I have to believe this is only the beginning, and I am an internal optimist. And the reality is, if we can get a few of these high-grade structures or ore shoots to hang together, there's a lot of space in there to fit 1 million ounces or more, and we won't stop at 1 million ounces if we could get there. But the point is, in this market, what a market to make a high-grade gold and silver discovery. And, I really feel that, at this point in time, there's still huge upside for us as we essentially will look to, park up, embed ourselves in the project, go in there with 2 drill rigs on both hands, and really try and sort of realise the scale of this project. So really, the world's our oyster at this point in time. It's it's a very exciting position to be in.
And you've got some big boys around you, haven't you? So because this is a district which is prolific for gold. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, that's right. That's another myth. People say, oh, these epithermal vein systems rarely get larger than are rarely larger than say 1 or 2 million ounces. But we've got Serra Vanguardia 15 kilometres up the road, which has over 9 million ounces of gold and over 140 million ounces of silver, and has been operated over 20 years by AngloGold Ashanti. So this is elephant country, and if we could just find a half of what Serra Vanguardia has in the way of total endowment, look, we will be all very happy geologists, I would think.
Is it along the same sort of structure as the AngloGold Ashanti project?
Yes, so it's essentially hosted on the same northwestern structural corridor. But what I would say is, a lot of people say, oh, you look like you've got the extension of the Serra Vanguardia system. I wouldn't say we've got the extension of the system. What I would propose is that we've got a whole new system, a repetition of the Serra Vanguardia system, if you will. And I believe that our project is centred on that system, meaning that our belief is we've got all of the best ground, and I think there's still a lot of upside in our exploration around the other prospects like Florencia and Roe and Veta Blanca, because to me that's moving into the hotter part of the system. So there's plenty more upside to come.
So you're saying that Mia is just the beginning, and we're actually going into a potentially a hotter area of the system where the grades could be even better. Yeah,
well, look, if you want to stretch that metaphor, in terms of hotter, colder, look, we've done our geophysics, and, the chargeability signatures that we're getting from, say, Florencia are far stronger than the chargeability signatures we're getting from Mia. So if you're just using that as a very simple analogue, our theory is that Mia is potentially just a cherry on a very large cake. And so that's what we will seek to prove over the next 6 to 12 months. And, if looking forward, I think what we really need to do is have 2 workflows running at once. We'll have a drill rig in at Mia trying to resolve the geometry of this high grade shoot. And then at the same time, we'll have a drill rig or 2 running around regionally, testing these other structures with shallow RC drilling, with the intent of, I guess, delivering to the market 1 or 2 Mia type hits elsewhere within the project. And I think if we can get to that point, then we'll really embed ourselves as an exciting new gold and silver discovery, if we haven't already.
Well, I think you've proven your worth very much so. Plenty of news flow coming out in the coming months, which obviously we will cover on Small Caps. Any final comments before we leave it and wrap it up for today?
No, look, not really. I guess just once again, thanks to the team. It's been terrible conditions out there in the Patagonian desert, always windy, always cold. And so without the guys sitting out there doing night shift in the middle of September, none of this would be possible.
Yeah, Argentina can get cold at this time of the year. Todd Williams, congratulations once again. We'll keep covering you here on Small Caps, but we look forward to plenty of news flow as we go to at the end of the year and, of course, coming into 2021. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Kerry. Always a pleasure.